If you would refer to your textbook to pages 115 and 116, it shows that to calculate the elasticity of demand, you need to take your percentage change in your quantity being demanded, and you divide that by your percentage change in the price of the item. Now, to really do this calculation correctly, all you need to do is take your quantity at time period 1 minus your quantity at time period 0. You want to divide that by your quantity at time period 1 plus your quantity at time period 0, and then to take that quantity and divide it by 2. Notice the entire denominator of this equation is in parentheses, which means that you're going to want to do that all in one step. So all of this will calculate your percentage change in quantity. Now, to calculate your percentage change in price, you take your price at time period 1 minus your price at time period 0. Divide that by your price at time period 1 plus your price at time period 0, and divide that by 2. And again, put that parentheses around your denominator. Now, in the question that you were looking at, they ask you to calculate the price elasticity of demand between points O and N. So you notice in this formula there are really only four variables that you need. You need your initial price and your initial quantity that goes along with that. And you also need your price at time period 1 and your quantity at time period 1 as well. Now, if you refer back to your Aplia problem, if you're looking at the price elasticity between points O and N, let's call point O our time period 0, or our initial price. If you look at that, your initial price is going to be $80, and then as you draw that line across, your quantity is going to be 8 units. Now, if you drop your price down to $70, which is your price at point N, your quantity is going to increase up to 10 units. So there's the numbers that you're going to want to plug into your formula. So simply take these numbers and insert them into the formula. So we have our price at time period 1, which is going to be 10, minus our quantity at time period 1 is going to be 10. Our quantity at time period 0 is going to be 8. Then we're going to divide that by Q1, which is 10, plus Q0, which is 8, and then all of that is going to be divided by 2. All right, and again, we're going to put that in parentheses. Now, we'll come back in just a moment and we will finish that out. Let's go ahead and put in our prices. So we have our price at time period 1, which is going to be 70, minus our price at time period 0, which is going to be 80. We're going to divide that by P1, which is 70, plus P0, which is 80, and then all of that is going to be divided by 2. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and put that in parentheses. All right, now let's go ahead and start to break this down. So we have 10 minus 8, which is going to give us 2 in our numerator. And then you want to take 10 plus 8, which is 18, and then 18 divided by 2 is going to give you 9. All right, let's go ahead and draw our division line, and then let's simplify our denominator. We have 70 minus 80, which is going to give us a negative 10. Now that negative becomes important because that negative denotes the downward slope of the demand curve. And then we have 70 plus 80, and then we're going to divide that by 2, which is going to give us 75. All right, then we want to go ahead and simplify this down even further. Now on your calculator, when you go in and take 2 divided by 9, you're going to get a pretty good sized decimal. It's going to be a repeating 0.22222. Go ahead and round it out to the 4th decimal place. So 2 divided by 9 will be 0.2222, and then we're going to divide that by negative 10 divided by 95. Again, you're going to get a pretty long decimal. But go ahead and round that to negative 0.1333. All right, and then when you finish that out, once you plug that in, you will end up getting a negative 1.6, and then you can round it to your second decimal at this point because all your rounding error will be taken care of. It will be a negative 1.67. Now, on the elasticity of demand problem, the last thing that you always want to do is to go in and take your absolute value. And so your elasticity of demand in this case is going to be equal to 1.67. All right, and now remember your rules. If that number that you get, the elasticity of demand, is greater than 1, then you will have elastic demand. If, on the other hand, the elasticity of demand is less than 1, then you will have inelastic demand. And on the off chance that the elasticity of demand is exactly equal to 1, we call it unit elastic. So in this case, since our elasticity of demand was 1.67, since that's greater than 1, then you would say demand is elastic. So you can take that and use that idea to go in and calculate your elasticity of demand between points M and L. You would do it exactly the same way to go in and answer the second part of the problem.